It's a very Corey Christmas. The two Coreys in the 90s. We're gonna get through this.
This thing is so hot.
Barry Davis is an all-American boy.
In an attempt not to be typecast, the two Coreys took some time apart and decided to take on other films. So naturally, they were teamed up with someone else. And strangely, here, the first attempts both featured them teamed up with fellow heartthrobs. Both featured the boys in an adventure in a car that's being followed by goons, and to top it off, were released within a year of each other. Way to avoid being typecast, guys. But to be honest, 1991's Dream Machine is the better of the two. The other being, of course, Round Trip to Heaven, which I've already discussed. Ugh. Here we get the Hamster teaming up with none other than the immortal Evan Richards. And with Evans teaming up with Haim, we get a fun little adventure. You can almost smell 1990 on this one. The official synopsis goes: Barry drives his parents to the airport, then tunes a rich woman's piano. He gets her cheating husband's Porsche. The husband's body's in the trunk. Then there's a fraternity's extreme initiation ritual going on. Will he get his dream girl? Well, goddamn, I sure hope so. This is an odd film, albeit highly enjoyable. Corey has such a presence on screen as usual, and Evan Richards is perfectly cast. You know, that naive kind of fraternal energy he possessed in his 80s work, fitting in perfectly here with Haim. And you know, it would have been cool to get some more Haim Richards flicks. Evan Richards previously starred with Corey Feldman in Rock and Roll High School Forever. Learn all about that film in my documentary, Forever, The Untold Story of Rock and Roll High School Forever, available now on Staunch TV. Subscribe. And ironically, he was often considered a Haim fill-in, for his part in Rock and Roll High School Forever, as his hairstyle was similar, but I mean, come on. Plus, the director confirmed Evan got the part because of his acting chops, not his hair. And in fact, in Rock and Roll High School Forever, Feldman played Jesse Davis. Here, Corey Haim is Barry Davis. But anyway, within the first 10 minutes of Dream Machine, we get a setup to an action suspense thriller and a fraternity raunchy comedy. You'll never look the same at Marshmallows again, trust me. A bizarre first 10 minutes, if I may say so myself. This will be the third film Corey released in the 90s, and some, and myself included, put this one up there in the top tier. You know, I often wonder what movies Haim didn't do while he was doing these kind of action comedy thrillers. As the TNA found their way into these kind of movies later in the 90s romps, here, it's not quite present yet, thankfully. Of course, I love those movies as well, but I appreciate some non-gratuity at times. I promise. And with the 90s actioneer vibes and kick-ass theme song, I mean, this movie rules. And though I say actioneer vibes, it really wants to be an action thriller. So much that the upbeat theme and, the casting and everything else leaning towards comedy is just kind of misleading, as the film is kind of presented to be a straight comedy, which it isn't. And while the TNA is out of the picture here, it still tries for some gross out and, well, basic college humor. There's just undoubtedly a charm that goes along with this flick, and, it doesn't matter that the tones go from a murder-infused thriller to a goddamn upbeat football montage.
There's a relief to this heat. I think it could be you.
As I was saying before, the fraternity stuff here is a cool little addition, as near the end of the film, the guys start to think the whole thing is some sort of a retaliation or like a prank or something. Then, Evan Richards just leaves Haim to deal with it on his own, just leaves him all by himself.
Whew, I've had my fun for one night. Can I, take the bug home? I'll bring it back in the morning.
You gonna leave me right this second, Mies?
Yeah.
And you know what? Feldman would never do that. So of course, now that the Hamster's alone, evil George Michael decides to make his move, and we get a pretty common 90s thriller finale for a bit. Corey Haim versus the archetypal 90s bad guy versus the archetypal 90s action score. It's just perfect.
Don't take one step or I'll shoot.
There are some legit funny parts in this film, like when Haim knocks this cop on his absolute ass.
Mies, are you okay? Yeah, how'd they get here?
Who else? Barry, I always knew there was something wrong.
Narc! Again, Feldman wouldn't do that. So in the end, Hamster saves the day and gets it all. Even a 90s car phone. Dream Machine is a lot of fun. It was made at that sweet spot in the 80s, you know, when things were becoming the 90s, and it's ultra apparent throughout. The movie never tries to be what it isn't, but succeeds to be what it is. An action, murder, thriller, romantic, teen comedy. Gotta love the 90s. Next for Corey would be perhaps his crowning achievement of the 90s. I talk about this one in my Rollerblades on Film video, link in description. Thanks for joining me, and stay tuned for more of Very Corey Christmas all this month.